Nope, not a vegan. I recently got a question from someone on one of my videos, a comment, asking what was stopping me from going vegan. And I thought it was about time that I told that story. But to start out with, I started this video because there's not a lot out there for vegetarians. There's a ton for vegans and not so many for vegetarians. So that's why I thought I'd reach out to that group and form a community. But we welcome vegans or meat eaters, everybody. Like, everybody's welcome. So to start out with, how I became a vegetarian. I was 17 when I became a vegetarian. To scroll back a little bit, when I was like 10, I think, I had an aunt who bought us a bunch of chickens for, oh God, this story sucks. So for Easter, she bought these like live animals, like chickens and ducks and stuff, and gave them to all the cousins for Easter. And the aunts and uncles were not happy with this whole deal. And so we ended up with like 24 chickens at our house. Baby, little tiny babies. So this whole story involves a lot of chickens. So we ended up with them at our house, and my mom didn't want them, so we had them for a couple weeks, and they went to live on the farm with her friend Vicky. So like 3 years later, I found out we ate them, and I was so freaking traumatized. And ever since I was little, I never liked meat. My mom was Irish and Polish and put hamburger in everything, and I hated it, and it was just too much. Only meat I really liked was the super fakey meat, like salami. I can't believe I'm admitting this. Like salami or chicken nuggets or like the super processed stuff. And as I continued to go on and get older, I couldn't really separate, and I mentioned this in another video, that I couldn't separate the idea of the animal that I was eating from the live animal. And when I was 17, we went on a choir trip. We were in the middle of Kentucky or Tennessee or somewhere, I don't know. Like, that trip was 4 or 5 different state tour. Anyway, our bus broke down, which, funny enough, I have probably a good 4 or 5 stories about the bus breaking down. Once was in South Africa and we had to scale a cliff, several things. But this particular time, we were in a truck stop. I can't remember if the bus broke down there or we like made it to there or whatever. We're sitting in this parking lot at this truck stop. And the choir was like 5th grade through 12th grade. And the littler kids, the 5th, 6th graders, were petting these little chickens. This guy had a van with like 600 little chickens in the back. And he said, we're growing these, we're taking them to be, to grow up, and then we'll kill them and then they become McDonald's sandwiches. And that was July 17th, 1997. And that's literally the last time I ate meat. So ever since then, people would ask me, well, you eat dairy? And I said, well, they don't kill the animal for dairy. And this particular person that commented on my post, they shared a video. They said, go watch the Dairy is Scary video. And I did. And yeah, it is really scary. I also tried to find alternating viewpoints and see the different, but both sides seemed really extreme. And I thought, okay, it can't be all this happy, joy, the cows are so freaking happy all the time. But is it really all this horribleness all the time? Either way, what I'm thinking is that it's probably hard to tell. Like, how are you gonna know if that dairy came from a happy cow? Which, yeah, those commercials are obnoxious as hell. I'm a happy cow from California. Anyway, so I've over time leaned more towards it. I've had a couple stabs at veganism, I guess I would say. I tried to do it, the time I really tried to go hardcore, I'll be straight honest, I was just trying to lose weight. I was doing the skinny bitch diet. And it was really, really hard eating out. And back then, I ate out a lot more than I do now. And I also just really hated the vegan cheese. I thought it was gross. It's also a lot of work to make your own cashew cheese or whatever. And it also gets really expensive buying some of those products. Now I know the actual vegans are like, these are excuses. This is dumb. That's junk vegan food anyway. You need to be eating whole foods. I'm aware of that. So A little later in my journey, I did meal plans with Happy Herbivore, and those were all plant-based, and I did some more of those, and those were really good. But I just always end up going back to cheese. And then as time progressed a little more, I started looking into things. I had the beauty blog at the time and finding out what was in stuff, and it really disturbed me. So I've never, since I've become a vegetarian, I've never worn leather, I've never eaten gelatin. There's a lot of things kind of between vegetarian and vegan that I've been pretty solid on. And then there's other things I'm not so good at. The cheese thing is the worst. And I actually do, for the most part, do soy milk. And sometimes I'll do, no, that's pretty much it. The rest is pretty much real dairy. So the thing that's really, really disturbing to me is the rennet, and that's, they use the, and I didn't know this till probably the last couple of years, probably because I was living in ignorant bliss and I just didn't want to know, is that they use the lining of the calf's stomach in some cheeses, and it's very difficult to tell which those cheeses are. Bonus, yay, yay. It's not in cream cheese, which is like my absolute favorite. And if you look at my recipes on veggieeveryday.com, you'll notice it in a lot of my recipes. Any real soft cheeses like ricotta and that kind of thing. There are cheeses, and I'm really gonna make a concentrated effort, at least, you know, as a baby step, to not consume those. Like, for example, I know Cabot doesn't ever use rennet in theirs. There's certain brands. So I found a couple lists of cheeses that don't have that in it, and I'll list that in the description for you. As far as going vegan, I don't know if I'll ever be there. I definitely am thinking about trying some more like soy yogurt and some of those alternatives. But I also just haven't come to the place yet where I agree that it's 100% necessary. I don't know that, I feel like I haven't gotten really to the bottom of it. Like, I feel like I've seen the extremist, like, dairy industry, like, yay, the cows are so happy. And I've seen the extremist vegan, no, they're being so tortured. And I'm like, what's really the, you know, what's really going on? And it's really hard to know for sure. And I guess in my heart, I'll come to a place where I'm sure. But I know that I don't want to consume anything that involves an animal being killed. I know that for absolute sure. One of the things I am gonna do though, because I always talk about it being inclusive, and I always talk about live and let live and all of those things, is on my recipes and videos, you know, where I review things, I'm gonna try to be more inclusive and include vegan options when I do offer recipes and when I do offer up that kind of content. I feel like that would be a more inclusive thing for those people who have made the leap to veganism. And I do respect them. I know you guys probably saw the video that said vegans need to stop telling me what to put on my plate. Well, the thing is, the person who made this comment that brought this video to life was the exact example of what to do, of educating and saying, this is my opinion and this is why, and maybe you should look into it, as opposed to being judgy and saying, you are awful, why are you just a vegetarian? So I super appreciated that. And that's how I ended up making this video. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Go ahead and subscribe and let me know what other content you want to see. Thanks.